I want to tell a story. And so the story goes. Some of you probably already heard it before from Eric Thomas, the man behind the secrets to success. So the story is about this young kid who was just an ordinary kid but found a way out through his sport, football, which was to become his passion. Already at a young age he said to himself that he wanted to become a professional football player, to be able to play the game for a living. So he started practicing in order to one day play in the highest leagues with the greatest players. He was willing to sacrifice everything in order to pursue his dream. One day he met this coach, and the coach saw the kid got ambition. And so the coach asked the kid, "How bad do you want to be successful and fulfill your dreams?" The kid said that it had always been his dream. So the coach said, "Well, okay, meet me tomorrow at the pitch at 7 a.m. If you want to be successful, you're going to have to be waking up early and training while others sleep. Don't be late." The kid chose to wake up early at 5 a.m. in order to pursue his dream. So the night before going to sleep, he was determined to prove his will. And he set his alarm clock at 5 a.m. The next morning, his determination was not as strong. The alarm clock was ringing. He was so tired. He hits the snooze button. "Just 5 more minutes," he said. The alarm clock sounded again. Snooze button. By the time he felt more awake, the time was 6 a.m. "Oh shit," the kid said. "I'm going to be late." He rushes to trying to make it in time to training. He skips eating and he puts on his clothes and hurries to the training. He runs to the train. Off the train he's running to the pitch. He makes it to 7 a.m. exactly on point. So the coach is there waiting and has prepared the layup. "You made it in time," the coach said with a surprising tone. The kid nodded, gasping for air. He looks up at the pitch and sees all these cones, and he looks at the coach. The coach says, "Today I want to test your will." So the kid says, "My will? I thought you brought me here to practice football." The coach replied, "Oh, you don't get it, kid. Will is everything about football. Now do these drills." The kid was already tired from the running he did to get to the pitch in time, but he wanted to show his will. So he's starting to do drills. He's running, jumping, dashing. He goes on, and after a few minutes he looks at the coach and asks, "How long am I gonna do this?" The coach replies, "Keep going." The kid looks down and keeps going. The second time he looks up, they're beginning to feel a bit frustrated, and so he tells the coach, "What is this? You said that we will be practicing football. I'm just running. When is it over?" The coach again replied, "Keep going." And he added, "I want you to keep going until you can't go no more." Now this kid is feeling frustration, but still continues to run. He's running and running and running until he falls to the ground. The coach walks to him and says, "How bad do you want to be successful?" The kid, doing nothing but gasping for air, barely replies, It's always been my dream." And the coach says, "What is the one thing you are doing right now?" The kid, still exhausted, stares at the coach with a questioning look. "What is it that you can't live without? That is your first need in order to live?" "Your breath," the coach said to the kid. "When you want to be as successful, as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful." Now, back as a youngin', this kid wasn't formed in a big club's academy. He grew up playing in a local amateur club which accepted any player without a tryout. Meanwhile, most of his friends who were great players, in contrary, were formed in big clubs' academies and were way ahead of him in all aspects of football, both technically and physically. This didn't go unnoticed by the kid though. He knew he had to become at least as good as them to realize his dream. So he thought that maybe he had to change and play in a big club's academy just like they were doing. He contacted multiple big clubs in this city and started their tryouts. This was something completely new to him. The pressure to perform at one instant training and to prove his worth. The environment was different too. Back in his old team, no one was focused on winning or being the best. Everyone just wanted to have fun. Not anymore. Now everyone play for themselves. The more goals the better, the more dribbles the better. The kid was shocked. This wasn't like playing in the schoolyard with his friends. This was it, he thought to himself. He wasn't allowed to practice with the first team, although he had been asking for it. But was offered a spare place in their lower team. Despite the denial and the maltreatment of not being able to train with the first team, the kid sucked it up and decided to join the lower team to prove his worth. He thought that maybe if he just would fight, they would show his worth. He was determined to make it. He continued to practice and practice, and as time went by, he was soon to become a young adult. He hadn't reached the first team, who were sometimes even struggling to make it into the first 11 in the lower team. This was when questioning and self-doubt made his first entrance. 2 years and gone, and he still hadn't moved up to the first team. He went so far that he even saw his teammates, whom he was much better than, from the lower team move up, but not him. The kid was devastated, and for the first time in his life he started questioning if he could ever achieve his dream. He never talked openly about his dream, though his parents understood by the amount of time and effort put in by their son that he had high ambitions. They liked to elevate the importance of school and a good education and getting a normal job. Eventually the kid broke down and was on the verge of quitting. He still knew that he never was given a real shot, so he decided to go back to his old club in order to regain the joy he felt when playing football. He had many of his old friends in the team, so it was an easy task to rejoin the team. He quickly found his passion, this passion that had saved him and taken him away from drugs and criminality. Things went quickly. No less than a year after his return, he and a few of his teammates were moved up to the club's senior team, who played in the 4th division. The team was on the verge of relegation and many players therefore left. The team's objective was only to avoid relegation. The kid was now a young adult, having reached the age of 16. He embraced the challenge with his head high and his chest up. He put in some good performances, and his teammates from the youth team put in all their effort. But it wasn't enough. The team suffered huge losses, losing at its worst state with results like 13-2, and sadly got relegated to the 5th division. Are you thinking that this is the end of the story? Oh, it's far from over. Although it was the worst season he ever had enjoyed in a team, he had put in some good individual performances. But most important of all, he had regained his passion for football. The coming season was filled with high goals and expectation and excitement. But the team's club board decided to switch out the trainers and create an entirely new team. The young adult once again seriously questioned if he ever could realize his dream, let alone if he even was meant to play the sport on an amateur level. Despite another setback, he needed to move on and find a new team. This time a senior team. See, he believed that he had proven his quality on the senior stage and he was fit to fight. He started trying out multiple senior teams situated in the 3rd to 4th division. He found one team who had been relegated from the 2nd division to the 3rd team, which he took upon himself as a great challenge. He was allowed to train with the team and things got on well. Not far later though, he now been training with his team for months, but still hadn't been given an answer if he was in the squad. On the day of transfer deadline, he was called up by the coach who gave him bad news. He was not in the squad. For over 3 months, he had been busting his guts, coming to every single training, running miles and miles, on spot. Another setback, and another decline. Success is not about being acknowledged by others. I've been doing this for years alone at early mornings without anybody knowing it. Success should not be measured through achievements neither, but through perseverance. Because success is not about becoming a millionaire, owning fancy cars, and living a glamorous life. Success is the direct consequence of never giving up and inspiring others to live a great life. And that is what I love about training in football. It is just like life. Sometimes you go through periods when you absolutely don't feel like training. You feel too sore. You are too tired. But in order to improve, you know that you must strive on. Just like in life, you cannot stop living just because you feel bad some days. Everyone can apply this in their life. I did. Not only when working out and striving toward my dream, but when studying, when being a son, a brother, and a friend. And if there is one thing I will always carry with me from Eric Thomas, who went from being a homeless high school dropout eating out of trash cans to where he is now, it is that if he can't do it,